Hey, fabulous listener. If you want to become a powerful and profitable trauma-informed coach, my business partner, Kushla, and I have a special free 5-day training starting next Monday, April 29th. To join us, you can simply message me the word powerful at Erin Anderson Trauma Coach on Instagram, or on Facebook, you can find me at Erin Anderson Betrayal Trauma Coaching, and we'll send you the details so you can join us. We're going to be sharing some special training on our body, mind, energy approach to help clients have faster shifts and healing, and how we make a consistent 5 figures each month as trauma-informed coaches. So if that sounds like something you or someone you know may like, make sure you come join us for this 5-day challenge. We're going to be sharing more in there than most paid programs. Hey, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of The Other Side of the Struggle. So today we are talking about what every woman wants her husband to know. And, that's kind of a broad topic and kind of a charged topic sometimes because, one of the last things that I actually want for my listeners and for my clients is to have a divide, in their relationship. But if you're listening to this podcast, there might be a chance that you're already feeling one because I talk a lot about relationship trauma, especially between husbands and wives, right? One thing that I really want to make very clear is that I'm also an advocate for the guys. I do love the guys. I think they're great. And I think that there's so many great things about men out there. But I also believe that if we are to change society in general, make the family a priority, then we really need to start talking to the guys and letting them know what is a priority to women, to their women in particular. And this whole idea that women are confusing. No, I'm sorry. That's just a societal bullcrap being fed to them. This whole idea that women are just supposed to be confusing. We're just supposed to change our mind all the time. Well, if that was the case, then we would not be monogamous creatures, now would we? The truth of the matter is we're not that complicated. We do want a great guy next to us in life to help us in life. And we want to have a partner in life. That's very simple. We want connectiveness. We want vulnerability. And these are things that strengthen a relationship, for crying out loud. There's a lot of things in society where men are being told certain things about women and women are being told certain things about men that are just not true. So we're going to dive in today about the things that every woman wants her husband to know. There's 6 things, guys. 6. And it's really, really simple things. Number 1, she wants you to know her likes and her dislikes. Very simple. Now, that might take some work to figure out because guess what? Women are also told throughout history, and especially in today's society, that our likes and our dislikes don't matter. This is also a generational thing. Back in the 1940s and 50s, and even somewhat into the 60s, women were told that they just needed to sit down, shut up, and be pretty. That our whole worlds revolved around our husbands and the work he did. If you listen to the pamphlets that they published for women back then, they're kind of chauvinistic. I'm sorry, they are. When it's saying that the thing that you need to do for your spouse is teach them, like not teach them, but make sure your children look perfect. Make sure that the dinner is on the table. Make sure that the house is spotless and clean. And to make sure you yourself look absolutely perfect. That you have to have your makeup done and your hair done. And I'm sorry, it's unrealistic. I should know. I'm a mom. And the last thing I want to do for my husband is burn myself out consistently and then let him expect me to be ready for sex when I have been exhausted. But this is somewhat of what we have been taught to do. We want our men to understand that we have a lot going on. We do a lot of things, and we really do take on a lot of the mental load in the relationship. We have to get people to appointments. We're juggling doctor's appointments, we're juggling dinner, we're juggling housework, we're juggling work often now. We're juggling a lot of these different things. Soccer games, basketball games, play dates, all of this and more. And it's mentally taxing. So it's very understandable that a woman needs a lot of quiet time to herself as well. We need guys to know and see that we are doing a lot. We need you to know our likes and our dislikes for this reason. Because sometimes we are so mentally invested in what's going on with the family and everything else and all the other irons in our fires that sometimes we need someone to stand in and say, hey, I know you love to craft. I'm going to take the kids down to the park for a few hours, and after that, I'm going to take them to a movie. That'll give you several hours to yourself. We're going to get the house clean for you. So that way you can just relax and watch a movie if you want to. You know that favorite movie of yours? Or you can craft something or paint. Maybe go to the pickleball courts, go get a massage, and give yourself some time to mentally detox. We need somebody to remind us sometimes to take care of ourselves because we are taking care of so many other people that it's very easy for a woman to forget herself. Now, I'm not saying that, guys, it is 100% on you to do that. But I can tell you how much we appreciate guys who remind us that we're important enough for our own thoughts and our own time. Number 2, we want our husbands to know what our goals, dreams, and visions are. So this is a guy that's going to be checking in. Hey, I know you wanted to create that XYZ thing. Whatever happened to that? Huh? Would you like me to create some time for you to work on that project? We also love it, and sometimes this is really scary for guys, but to help us fund that project. If we're busy with the kids and building a business and doing all of these other things, and honestly, just being a stay-at-home mom and not having a business is a more than full-time job because we don't get sick days. We don't get paid overtime. We don't get paid at all, but yet we are doing this thing to help you go out and create money. I actually looked into it one time. If The mother was out of the home, was not in the picture, and the father had to earn a living, but also make sure that he had someone in the home taking care of his kids. He would most likely be having to pay that person in the upwards of $1,500 a day for their time, their expenses, their own children, and the food that their children are eating. All three of these things and more that go into childcare only, and the other person's time would equal up to about $1,500 a day. Yet, when it comes to the wife who is doing this because she loves him and she loves her children without pay, it's really important to know that we also want a life. We want somebody to help us fund some of these things, some of our goals and our dreams. We didn't sign up to throw our own lives away for our children. We do want the children, and we want to show our children that they can have their goals and their dreams and a family at the same time. The idea that we have to literally give up our identity is bogus. The idea that we have to give up whatever it is we wanted, and this is the same for the guys too, just because we have a family is bogus. What that is resentment building for both partners. Because we're in a partnership together. That partnership is what makes possibility happen, as well as family. We can have more than one thing that we want as long as we're working together in a partnership. We want you to recognize our goals and our dreams and our visions and make those things important to you. And we want you to also make your goals, dreams, and visions important as well. We love a guy with ambition. We just want you to communicate those things to us and make ours equally important. We want you to know our strengths and our weaknesses. Because if you love us, no matter what, if you still love us, even though we have our weaknesses, and guys, we do. You have weaknesses. And we want somebody to still be loving and loyal to us and think that we are the most wonderful thing. We want you to know that we want to feel like we're the most wonderful thing in your life. Even though we're not perfect. Because there are going to be times where we're not going to feel very safe. And sometimes in those unsafe moments, our weaknesses come up. In those moments, we want to be held. And not have things fixed for us necessarily, but have a partner there that will ask us good questions. Have you considered doing this? What do you think about this? What have you tried to solve this problem? Oh, baby, that's really hard. I can imagine that would be really tough. We want a man who's going to be able to check in with us, to ask us how we felt about the way he did something, to ask us for our feedback, because he values our mind. He values our opinion, and he values our emotions. That's strength to us. A man who's not afraid of his own consequences, his own actions, and how they have in turn affected us. a man who is willing to listen to us, so that way he can turn around and also adjust and change because we're important to him. We want him to be honest and vulnerable with us. We don't want to be kept guessing whether or not you have a porn addiction or whether or not you've recently looked at porn or whether or not you're even thinking about porn or another woman. We want you to be honest and vulnerable with us. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be with pornography either. There are going to be times where you're struggling emotionally. And we want to be there to soothe you, to be strong for you, to be able to hold space for you. Because you matter to us. So how do you feel about boundaries? It's a legitimate question. A lot of people come to me really struggling with this concept. They often feel guilty for setting boundaries, or they're not sure about even what a boundary is. You know, they've heard the term, set the boundary, things like that, but that's really confusing for them because it's not something that's well taught in our society nowadays, right? They know that boundaries are really important to having healthy, constructive, supportive, and wonderful relationships, but why? And oftentimes they also know that they feel like their boundaries are being violated, but they can't quite pinpoint what the boundary is that's being violated. That's why I've created the Clarifying and Creating Your Boundaries free PDF. You can find out what your boundaries are, how to tune in to what the boundary needs to be, and how to effectively create and communicate your boundary so that way you stay in this place that respects you, respects the other person, but also gives you the confidence in your boundaries so that way you stop being gaslighted, disrespected, and unseen. Having your boundaries really clear gives you a voice and also helps the other person stay in accountability with themselves. So that's not a role that you have to take on anymore. So if you are ready to really have clear boundaries, to really understand what your role is in the boundary, and to give yourself some safety and some protection against people that might try to gaslight you or are just being disrespectful, go grab my Creating and Clarifying Your Boundary PDF at erinandersonthetraumacoach.com. And while you're there, let's schedule a call with me. Come have a chat with me so that way I can really, really help you master this particular skill, creating boundaries, clarifying the boundary, communicating that boundary, and so that way I can also help you have relationships that show up to support you, cherish you, and love you. See, when we're able and we feel confident in being able to love and support you, even in your vulnerable times, we feel valued. We feel like you value our mind and our opinion and our honesty. We want you to know that we are priceless, and we want to know that we are priceless to you. We want to be treated like the pearl of great price. If you were to get a truck that you have wanted for a very long time, that you have studied, we want to be studied, and you've studied this truck and how it moves and its inner workings And you have desired this truck for a long time, and once you have it, you continue to take care of it. You continue to make sure it's polished and in its best shape. You change the oil. You do what is needed to make sure this truck is at its best ability to run for you. You may choose, when something is very important to a man, he studies it. He maintains it. He cares for it. He cherishes it. And he gets excited every single time he thinks about it. It's priceless to him because he's worked hard for it. Men sometimes tend to think that once they have the girl or they have us, then that's it. They can relax. But we want to still feel important to you even after we've entered in a relationship with you. We want you to still take us to dinner and be mindful of the things that we like. Put a little effort into us. The last thing we want a man to know is that we are your greatest gift from God. Adam was not the last creation. It was Eve. And Eve was created for Adam. Now, I know that, in the Christian community that it's viewed that Eve was the one who sinned first, and so therefore bears a lot of the burden. But I kind of think that Eve also knew, after she had taken the fruit, that it was necessary to struggle together in order to bring man to be. Eve is a beautiful example of how a woman can actually hold a man accountable. And this is one of the things that the feminine does. The masculine creates a space for the feminine. I love watching my roosters and my chickens. My roosters will make sure that the hens eat before they feed themselves. They make sure to give nice, quiet spaces to the hens to create their eggs. They escort my cute little hens into the nesting boxes so she can and wait there with her until she's comfortable. They're a gentleman. And it's a good example of what a masculine does for a feminine. They realize that the feminine is priceless. They create this space for her to create, to grow, to flourish, and to sit back and wonder and awe as she does so with the things that he provides for her. The feminine, therefore, also keeps the masculine accountable to his own goals and his dreams and his purpose as well. They work together very beautifully in harmony. They cultivate each other in a very, very great way. And they complement each other. We want our husbands to know that we are the greatest gift because we were the last creation for the man. This is what it means to know your wife. In the Bible, it talks about he knew his wife. And we often think of that as a sexual experience between husband and wife, and that is true. But it comes down to us truly being known and knowing that we are known by our husband because he studies us. He cherishes us. He creates a space for us. When we are known by our husbands, we know he cherishes us. He has studied us. He takes time to make our wants and our wishes a priority to him because he really, really does love what he has. And he wants that to grow and he wants that to flourish. And when we feel this known by our husbands, we want to be intimate with him because we feel safe. We feel loved and we feel important. We want to culminate this. What we want our husbands to know is we want him to know us. We want him to know who we are. So please, husbands, know your wives. Because I promise you there is nothing that will make you feel more masculine than truly knowing the woman by your side. All right, my loves, that's it. That's it for this week. If you would love more support and more help in your relationships, and if you would really love to get to know each other and know yourselves on a much deeper level, if you would love help letting go of the trauma and the fears and really step into confidence and boundaries and finding yourself again, please feel free to book that call. I would love to help you further. All right, my loves, that's it for this week. Until next week, I'll see you on the other side. Bye, guys. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today and listening in on this podcasting episode. Don't forget to tune in next week. It's gonna be awesome. See you soon. Bye.